5, 10 years ago, man, we were on an island. Now there's hope all over the place. I mean, really, this thing is coming down.
Hey friends, thanks so much for tuning in. On this call, we have Lehr joining us from Perpetual Assets, and we're going to talk about precious metals, cryptos, and all of that good stuff. But before we do that, as Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg apologizes for Facebook's major breach of trust over the Cambridge Analytica data breach, people are waking up in droves to the reality of Big Brother data spies. One way to protect yourself is, of course, to delete Facebook, as Elon Musk recently did for both SpaceX and Tesla. But you can do more to protect yourself across the board when you're surfing the net. Use Virtual Shield VPN. Protect your info, location, and search history from Big Brother internet providers who gather and sell your data. And Virtual Shield won't slow your internet speed. Also, check out Virtual Shield's IdentiSafe, a feature that includes a microphone and webcam blocker that also automatically deletes browser data, cookies, and can even shred files so that they're unrecoverable. Use the link below this video to take 30% off your first term and visit virtualshield.com. Give yourself the gift of internet security. Now, without further ado, Lehr is here. Will, how are you?
I'm great, Sean. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and my last guest I had on, Dan Kurtz, says, we're in the eye of the storm, Will, and of course he's speaking about the bubblicious levels of the stock and bond market. And, since we had that conversation, we see Facebook in a bit of a free fall. As traders have said, they can handle emotionally the volatility, but there is nothing scarier than illiquidity, and ain't that the truth?
Yeah, you can say that again. It's funny you mentioned Facebook. There is quite a bit of information about some insider selling going on there that people might want to take a look at regarding a chief executive within the company unloading quite a tremendous amount of Facebook shares over the last couple of months, if I remember correctly, from looking at the insider transactions list. It's public information.
Yeah. Have you heard the rumors that Zuckerberg is somehow connected to, through bloodlines, to the Rockefellers? And look at Hillary. Hillary was Rothschild's choice for president. Nobody was more exuberant than Linda Rothschild about Hillary Rotten Clinton running for president.
To get her for us.
And what kind of world do you think we would live in right now, Will, if that witch was in the White House?
Oh boy, if we'd even be alive, Sean, I think people like you and me probably wouldn't be here. The saber rattling that was going on with Russia at the time, I don't even know if any of us would be here 12 months later, or 13. These people, these insane deep state puppet masters, were ready to go right into Russia and Iran, and Hillary was. Boy, she was certainly supportive of that with her, with her words and her movements. So yeah, no, I think we'd probably be in an incredible state of war and pandemonium and market free fall and everything else accompanied with that.
Yeah.
Would have accelerated the collapse, no question.
Well, and I worry about, you say, wonder if we'd even be here. I do believe she and the DNC have been running hit teams for a very long time, and I do believe that they took out Seth Rich. And it's Kim.com who says, look, I'm more than willing to talk to Robert Mueller and let him know the information I have that proves Seth Rich was the leaker, the DNC leaker, and Mueller won't even have that conversation with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, obviously. Sean, for those of us that have been paying attention, when the Seth Rich murder happened, it was, I remember just being set back. I remember that sick feeling in my stomach, like, oh my God, they're gonna pull this off. Like, it's just, and here we have connections months and months and months later that he was the leak, right? He was the WikiLeak.
Well, that's right. And the thing is that I also believe they took out Scalia. And if you recall those WikiLeaks emails that, thank God, Seth Rich was able to get to WikiLeaks because he was a true patriot and he saw the corruption and he knew that the DNC had stolen the nomination from Bernie and given it to Hillary, and he was upset about it, and they whacked him for it. But in those WikiLeaks emails is language from Podesta talking about wet works and a movie production. And of course, he's never had anything to do with film production in his life. And Anons believe that was all the discussion of the operation to put out the hit on Scalia. because it was just, I think, a week later that Scalia was dead. And I think they whacked Scalia.
Gosh, unreal, Sean. Well, yeah, when it happened, of course we were pontificating on that. Of course they did this, but now you've got you've got data and things tying in together. This is really quite a breath of fresh air, honestly. This Anon movement, the whole MAGA movement. I mean, with the Trump, whether there's a swamp draining actually taking place by these characters or not. I mean, I don't know how you could doubt there is at this point. But just the information bomb, okay? I mean, look at how many people are talking about this stuff. I mean, there's hashtags on Twitter, for God's sakes, about all of these different, from Pedogate now to all this stuff. So it's very refreshing. It feels like the veil is being lifted. People are waking up. The swamp is being drained, so to speak. It certainly could move faster, but it is moving. I mean, would you agree?
Well, I absolutely agree. And, I just saw a statistic yesterday that said 75% of the American people believe their government is run by the deep state, a shadow government. Or at least up until Donald Trump becoming president, they believe that was the case. And I think that there's just no disputing it. That's exactly the case. In the CIA, in the FBI, in the NSA, and all of the other alphabet agencies have been completely usurping the Constitution and the Republic for decades and getting away with it. I mean, look, I think you do too, the same people that whacked JFK have been in charge up until Donald Trump defeating Hillary Clinton.
Yep, I would agree with that. Absolutely. And 9/11 was the foot on the accelerator for revolution, if you will, for good powers of good that our friend Bix Weir has been talking about since before it was even cool to talk about, right? A core of good guys within the system trying to take these criminals, this deep state, apart. And darned if it's not happening, and darned if the accelerator is just not been stomped on since I mean, Hillary getting beat. It's unbelievable. What's it going to be, Sean? What do you think is going to be the big truth bomb, right? I mean, there's got to be something. What's going to be? Is it going to be another shooting? Is it going to be like a live present day event that is thwarted, or that is the curtain is pulled on, or is it going to be something like 9/11 or JFK files?
Well, I'll tell you what it could be. I mean, the next truth bomb, and then I want to get back to 9/11 because I just produced a video about 9/11 being the illusion, the spell that was cast to cause all sorts of tyrannical things to happen, but it was also the illusion that woke us all up, right? Because once we understood the illusion, the spell didn't work anymore. And 9/11 was the key event that woke so many of us up. But the truth bomb that could come are a couple of things. There could be audio released of the conversation that Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton had on the tarmac. Q has made mention of that audio existing and possibly being released. Or it could be the release of the video said to be on Anthony Weiner's laptop, video purportedly showing Hillary Clinton involved in despicable pedophilic acts that NYPD insiders describe as bringing grown men to cry. It's so horrible. So either one of those pieces of video or audio would certainly wake up millions of more people in droves.
Boy, you're not kidding. And that the video of Hillary and the officers, grown men that came to tears, right after that information came out or was made public that this might exist. I don't know if you noticed or saw this, that some mainstream outlet aired a story about how video, now you can't even trust your eyes anymore, something to that effect, how easy it is to manipulate video. And you can have someone that's not, so they're already painting the picture immediately for this to be, it's a faked video.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that. They're trying to get out ahead of the story. And you know what, though? People like Craig Sawman Sawyer, people like my friend Liz Crokin, people like me, you, the rest of us in the alt media, we are not going to we're going to keep these people's feet to the fire. We will not let them get away. And look, because we have a president in the White House who I don't think is a Satanist, like I believe she is, he may be able to use military tribunals to bring these people to justice for treason and sedition, because that's what just about all of them are guilty of.
Hmm. What was it that Q tweeted or somebody tweeted about Obama? See you in Gitmo or something, and then the reply was he'll use his Kenyan citizenship as an excuse to flee or something.
Yeah, I think it might have been Jerome Corsi. No, you're right. It was Q, and it was Jerome Corsi who has been tweeting about that as well. And, Jerome Corsi has been all over the fake birth certificate. I mean, there's so many. If you were to read all of this in a novel written by Tom Clancy, 30 years ago, you would never believe that the world we live in right now could be realistic. Like, you would never, it's too implausible to be a movie, right? That the CIA would have created a candidate, given him essentially a fake history, a fake birth certificate, and gotten him into the White House. And that everybody's okay with that. And that as soon as he got in, he signed an executive order making his college records and pretty much all of his personal records secret. I mean, it's insane. You can't make it up, but it's the world we live in.
It's beyond insane. And you paint that picture very well. Imagine reading a Tom Clancy novel that paints this future image. It's beyond insane. And you have people, okay, what happened to the weapons of mass destruction? Let's go back one more presidency, right? I mean, did everybody forget about this person W, who they just conveniently became that guy who dropped all those bombs and this? It's like we just forget and we just try a new one. We'll just forget and try a new one. It's so beyond insane, and now there's finally rubber meeting the road. I mean, the Trump presidency is such an incredible anomaly. I mean, if to those of us paying attention, if it wasn't obvious that the deep state was against him, I mean, this guy is, I'm cautiously optimistic here. Is he for the people? Well, he sure as hell isn't working with the deep state, because all they're doing is, mainstream complete chastising, trying to put him down. So it is an interesting time, Sean. It really is, and I feel this clash of information war, it really is. And the clash of people waking up at breakneck speeds. 5-10 years ago, man, we were on an island. Now there's hope all over the place. I mean, really, this thing is coming down. The cat is out of the bag. And all those people you just mentioned and everybody else in the alt media, which is growing, not only in subscribership, but people with microphones. You're getting guys that are starting YouTube channels and exposing truths in their shed or their garage. And it's awesome. So it is, man. It's a really awesome breath of fresh air. It's a really exciting time to be alive. And I think, we're definitely in for a lot of turmoil. And I think as I really analyze it now, as things have changed so much in the last 5 to 10 years, it feels like what we're going to be up against more than anything now, Sean, is our common Americans, is our friends and family, our people that are going to be ushered into this new economy and into this new truth, this new way of life. A lot of people who are still clamoring for a Hillary presidency are going to have nervous breakdowns and more. So we have to be the compassionate if we can. I mean, we have to acknowledge that. And I think, how does this information come out, Sean? How does that transition take place? I mean, think about what we went through individually in our own awakening process, whenever that was. Right? Imagine everybody going through it.
Yeah, it's a painful process to wake up. I've often said, though, you have to choose to wake up. Right? You can't force somebody in your family or a friend or a colleague at work. You can't force them to wake up by just giving them information, by showing them World Trade Center 7 on 9/11 and explaining the impossibility of that collapse. They won't process it because they don't want to wake up. And I found that time and time and time again, but I think people are starting to wake up slowly because of things like the DNC stealing the nomination from Bernie in the wide open, because of things like Hillary running a private server out of her house in Chappaqua, and Comey getting up and saying, yes, she really screwed the pooch as it pertains to classified information, but she didn't commit a crime because she didn't intend to do any of this. So she's just a dummy, and so we're not going to prosecute her. People who are paying attention are getting outraged. And you're right, you watch CNN and all they will talk about is that stripper, the stupid idiot stripper story, which nobody cares about. And it's the most minute stupid thing to talk about, but they'll talk about it ad nauseum all day long on CNN because they don't want to talk about the real crimes that have been perpetrated against the Constitution and the Republic by the people on the left. And it's just stunning. And you know what? I just want to read this. We talked earlier here in the conversation, where would we be if the witch was in the White House? Q has also posted the words, sum of all fears, pure evil, etc., as it describes the people who are opposed to the Republic, right? The people aligned against us and aligned against Trump. And The Sum of All Fears is a Tom Clancy novel that was turned into a crappy movie starring Ben Affleck. But here's the thing. The film is about a plot by an Austrian neo-Nazi to trigger a nuclear war between the United States and Russia so he can establish a fascist superstate in Europe. Does that not sound eerily similar to Hillary's plan? And by the way, Q has also posted about Nazis. And, the Windsors, Prince Philip was a Nazi. And I just think it's very interesting. If the witch had gotten into the White House, she definitely would have been pushing for a war with Russia.
No question.
The sum of all fears. A nuclear exchange. I mean, look how she was rattling the cage and making Putin out to be the world's worst boogeyman, and she was ready to go to war over what was happening there in Syria. Not to mention the fact that NATO has surrounded Russia, with all sorts of, they call defensive weapons, and Putin has rightly said they could be offensive weapons. How is he to know? And that is the plan. That was the plan of this. Look, it's a Khazarian mafia. That's what it is. It's the Rothschild Zionist Khazarian mafia, and their puppet Hillary would have been pushing for what is described in Tom Clancy's novel, The Sum of All Fears. I don't think people realize how close we came. We were 1 minute before midnight, and it looked like she was going to steal the presidency. I think a miracle has happened here, Will.
I think you're right, Sean, and I think it's force and forces way bigger than we can imagine at work here. This is stuff, let's be honest, Sean, this is stuff that you and I were praying about 10 years ago, okay? And now it's happening, and it gives me goosies, man. It is a breath of fresh air. I mean, that wicked witch is so beyond wicked. We won't even go into detail as we could, as you have, and many of these truth tellers and soldiers on the front lines, whether it is just a Twitter account or a YouTube channel or someone writing blogs or whatever, this army of people that have come together as this awakening process has happened, it's beautiful, man. It's people coming together to help and to eradicate evil, and they're doing it in any way possible, and it's fantastic to see. Yeah, if she had won, I can't imagine what things would look like today. I mean, when that election went down and he won, I had so much emotional intensity based on the fact that she lost. Like for people in my family and loved ones and neighbors and such who were in tears. I almost had to get up and leave the country for a little while. I couldn't really stomach it because I knew at the time what we dodged. Yeah. I knew the bullet that we just dodged, and my sister and people are on their knees crying in tears.
It's so insane to me, and it's because those people are still under the spell. They literally are. And look, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is a savior. What I'm saying is that Donald Trump is not a hardcore Satanist who is into child sex trafficking. In fact, he and his administration are pulling out all the stops to try to end child sex trafficking. And we know that Hillary is involved up to her eyeballs with that stuff because of the Laura Silsby trafficking situation in Haiti when she was stopped at the border with 33 children. And who came to her aid? Bill and Hillary through the Clinton Foundation. So Donald Trump is the stopgap measure protecting us all from nuclear annihilation and the depopulation agenda of the Khazarian mafia. So thank God, because we would be in a world of hurt if Hillary was in the White House. So let's bridge back over to economics here. I've had you on in the past talking about your LLC IRAs for precious metals, real estate, and all the other stuff you can do with these LLC IRAs. And it's a pretty cool idea because, again, as Dan Kurtz said in my last interview,
we're in the eye of this bubble valuation storm. Around us, we've got 150 mile per hour winds, category 5 at this point. And they're gonna come to us too. We just don't know when, but we know it's going to happen, meaning manipulation is always trumped over time by market forces.
So I'm not giving anybody financial advice, but I do want people to know there are options for your retirement monies if you want them out of the hands of Wall Street specifically. So tell people about the LLC IRA, which I think you're now offering for cryptos too. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what's interesting about that is we've just seen a gigantic correction in the cryptos space. Talk about the IRAs that you guys offer.
Well, yeah, thanks for the mention. And, the fact that you're not giving financial advice. I mean, our company's motto is trust yourself, and it is for a reason. We saw an opportunity with all these IRA accounts and 401 accounts and pensions and these types of things. Now, if it's an active 401 that you're employed under and you're active in, usually that money is stuck and you can't access it. But IRAs and SEPs and old 401ks and all those types of things are accessible. And most people don't know this, okay? They think, oh, crap, my money's stuck at Merrill Lynch or Fidelity or whatever institution it is, stuck in those, bonds and, mutual funds and what have you. And this structure was created some 20, 30 years ago by congressional members who wanted to invest their own qualified monies because they knew of places to get better yields. So it's really a type of platform or structure, a type of self-directed IRA where we set everything up, we move your funds around, but ultimately the end result is the individual is in the driver's seat. It's an IRA LLC because there is a limited liability company that we create that your IRA buys. And then you, the individual, sometimes a spouse, is the manager of this LLC. And it's an investment holding company that holds your IRA funds. It sounds more complicated than it is. One of the last steps is we have you go open a bank account at your local bank or credit union in the name of this LLC, in the name of this company that we've created. And that's where your IRA money goes. And from there, you make investments. Now, you can't personally benefit from the money, because it's your retirement account, but you can invest it. You can manage those investments. It's been used for decades for private equity and real estate. We've been using it for precious metals quite a bit the last 5+ years. And it happens to be really the best vehicle out there for cryptocurrencies. There are ways to invest an IRA in cryptocurrency. And it's a traditional sort of centralized format where you don't hold the coins, you don't hold the private keys, they're stored somewhere, and you pay very large percentages of your entire account. With this platform that we set up, it's a one-time flat fee. It doesn't matter your account size, and then you go off and invest in whatever vehicles you want to invest in. Well, for cryptos, it allows you with this to take your IRA money, and you can invest in not only any crypto you wanted or token, you can invest in pre-sales or ICOs or ITOs, any crypto or token out there you can invest in. But most importantly, you control where it's stored. So you can actually purchase a hardware device, storage device for those cryptos for this LLC, and you store the coins yourself. You store the private keys on behalf of the LLC. And you can also control trades as well, and trading, buying and selling things for gains, ideally, inside of a tax deferred account it's just that. It's tax deferred, consult your CPA. But people who are trading with cryptos and realizing some of these tremendous gains, you can do that inside of an IRA with great tax advantages. But this basically, it allows you to, if you've got money trapped at a Merrill Lynch or a Fidelity or something, and you want to invest it in something else, something tangible, something that you believe in and that you can control, that's what we do. We help set that up for you.
Yeah, and you cut your teeth with precious metals, right? Silver eagles and gold. I mean, explain that for people that might be interested in just hedging their portfolio by owning some physical silver and gold in their own possession through one of these IRA vehicles. How does that work again? Same thing, huh?
Same thing. Yeah, the LLC, once set up and funded, you want to stick with the Eagles. If you're going to be controlling storage yourself, you want to stick with the U.S. Eagles, not other bullion, as mentioned in the tax code. The Eagles exist in the tax code in a separate paragraph, and they don't have the language about third-party storage. So yeah, with this, you can buy U.S. minted Eagles, silver or gold Eagles, and you can store them. They don't have to be stored in a trustee depository like Delaware Depository. You can actually control the storage yourself, whether that's a hole in your backyard or a private vault somewhere or whatever the case may be. So yeah, and with this platform, you're not just limited to one asset. You can invest. You can own a little bit of gold under your pillow. You can own a little bit of Litecoin, under your other pillow, and you might have some real estate somewhere. I mean, you can own all kinds of stuff under this one umbrella.
Well, just to round out this conversation, the majority of our conversation, Will, was about the corruption in government, the shadow government, the deep state. And I'll just round this thing out by talking about Q, who said, "How bad is the corruption?" in his March 17th post. And he goes on to say, "Traitors everywhere, America for sale, and Trump administration, our last hope." And the bottom line here, guys, is if you think the corruption doesn't reach to Wall Street, got a wake-up call for you. The corruption began with the Wall Street big banks. That's where, look, Seed and Company. Will, you and I and Bix have talked about that in the past. Most people don't realize the stocks you own, they're not in your name. So, guys, do your own research on some of this stuff. And if you want to learn more about these IRAs, these LLC IRAs, you can give Will a call. How do they reach you, Will?
Our website, perpetualassets.com, or call us anytime. And our best current number... Yeah, you can check us out on our website, perpetualassets.com, of course, or call us anytime at 888-281-2630. Myself or Gus, happy to chat anytime.
All right, and that's perpetualassets.com, correct?
Correct.
All right. Our guest has been Will Lehr. Will, thanks so much, buddy.
Always a pleasure, Sean. Thank you for fighting the fight and what you do, man.
It's a blessing, and I feel very, very fortunate to be in a position to have a platform to speak out against the Wicked Witch and the deep state, the shadow government, everyone aligned against our freedom. So thanks so much, Will. I appreciate that. And guys, thank you so much for visiting us at sgtreport.com. The new platform looks awesome on your mobile device, and the site is loading lickety-split fast. So thanks so much. And also a special shout out, a thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com. You're making a real difference for us, so God bless all of you. And final word, visit us at sgtreport.com for real news 24/7. Thanks, guys. God bless.
The evil of this, I mean, the satanic nature of the pedophilia that's going on, and the combination of the Satanism with the pedophilia is going to be shocking to the average American.